Then the feedback was that I'm already 23 and that I look even older. So I'm too old to study acting.
Unbelievable. It's just lunatic and crazy.
That's what brought me to New York, actually. So I'm glad they didn't take me. In New York, I started like a small basement theater with some colleagues called the Global Artist League, GAL.
You no longer wait for roles. You are building your own world as a creative, as an artist.
For almost 2 years, we had different events there. So I already created kind of my own work there.
Art feels very personal. It is something that is kind of interwoven into the fabric of your life, something that you're going through, and then you're making light of it, and you're bringing it to people.
That's really also one of my initial motivations, because I want to tell different stories. I want to tell positive stories. I want to tell stories that inspire.
Noemi Sophia James Buttinger.
Yes.
Wow.
For acting, I use only James right now. It's like Noemi Sophia James. But yes, my full name is Noemi Sophia James Buttinger.
Okay, because you have it also here. We can see your name here as Buttinger.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
But for acting, let's just clarify that immediately. And as an actor and as a, creative, which you are. So you are an actor, you're a director, you're a writer, and you are a multidisciplinary artist. We're going to dive into that later on, which we can see when we just look at you and look at your background, to be very honest.
Thank you.
But that we just clarify. So on IMDb, what is your name on IMDb?
It's Noemi Sophia James. And also for my agencies and on the acting platforms, it's Noemi Sophia James.
Okay.
Yes, I decided to go with that one because it was a little long. So,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to get rid of the Sophia because I always use the Sophia for acting. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, talking about mentioning
more international than
it's more James. You feels like more international. That's what you said.
Yeah, because Buttinger is actually not Buttinger, and if I hear Buttinger, I always have to think of a butt, so I don't like it so much.
Well, mentioning like acting and all, it did take you a few years before you decided to study acting.
Yes, it did.
What made you finally take the leap?
I just felt this calling, and I felt if I don't try it, I will regret it. And I worked on set for several years, actually, always behind the camera before I started to decide to really go for acting.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked in the costume department and in the makeup department, and I really enjoyed it. And it's still something I enjoy doing for myself, but it didn't really feel like my calling, like this is what I want to do for a very long time. And yeah, so with like 23, I actually decided to do acting. And then it was a little late for the public universities here in Austria. You're already considered late, like basically old with 23, which I think is not.
Sorry, that is just lunatic and crazy. Like 23, you're just starting your life. Come on, dude.
It was like I applied twice, and it was back then it was called the Conservatory Vienna. I think now it's MOOC. And the second time I made it to the third round, I think. And then the feedback was that I'm already 23 and that I look even older, like I look more mature. So I'm too old to study acting.
Unbelievable.
Okay, was that a man that said that or a woman?
A woman, actually.
Yeah, that's okay. That makes sense. We're gonna go to her now. I'm joking. Women, no, we support each other. No, don't do that anymore.
No, I think it might have changed a little bit because this is like almost 15 years ago. But yeah, it's not like with 23, you're considered too old to study acting. It's just like, yeah. But anyways, that's what brought me to New York, actually. So I'm glad they didn't take me. And I was like, okay, fuck you, Austria. I'm going to the States. They don't ask for my age. So yeah, that's how I actually ended up. Then I studied at a Kraus University in Vienna for 2 years. Um, but yeah, I mean, I did learn something there. I liked most of my teachers, but I didn't feel like super challenged. I felt like yeah, I want to explore more. And then one summer I went to New York. I applied for several acting schools, and I actually got into all of them, which was great.
Mm.
And then I decided to go for Stella Adler because yeah, it had a really good reputation and it was not crazy expensive because I paid it myself. Unfortunately, I don't have rich parents. My parents are both artists, so I don't have money either.
But how did this decision come about in terms of going to New York? Was it always like a long-standing dream of yours, or was it due to the fact that, you know, you were kind of like you got this rejection from
Mm.
schools in Vienna and you decided, okay, fuck that, I'm just gonna go and win them over abroad?
I think it was a combination, honestly. It was yeah, I 1 year before I visited a friend of mine who's also an artist, and she lived in New York at that time. So I was lucky enough that I could stay like a whole month with her in Brooklyn, and I just completely fell in love with the city.
Mm.
I was like, oh, I want to live here. Yes, and then the combination with me not really getting into the acting schools I wanted to get in, and then I thought, you know what, going to the States on a student visa is the easiest way. So like it all made sense. Yeah. And then basically 1 year later, I'm and in the meantime, I worked a lot to save some money, and yeah. And then I moved to New York, I think with 25. Yeah.
Mhm. And you
Can
also, from New York, you went to LA and you worked
Yes.
with the theater you shared with us. Can you tell us a little bit more about this period?
Um, well, after I graduated from Stella Adler Studio, I actually was in a relationship for like almost 2 years with an actor who is quite successful actually, and he moved to LA because he had like a series regular job there, and I thought, okay, you know what, why not? LA makes sense as an actor, so I'll try it. And then I did some stage readings with him at a theater there, and I also did some TV intensive workshops there to get a little more into TV acting. And I lived there for almost a year, like I think 9 or 10 months. But then the relationship, like we broke up. It was very challenging. Um, and I had not a lot of friends there, and I had great friends in New York because I studied there. And
mm.
yeah, I felt quite lonely in LA. I think I had never felt as lonely in my life as I felt in LA. And then everything is so spread out. So you're like, yeah, it's very hard to meet people, and you always have to take a car to go somewhere. You cannot just walk somewhere or like go for coffee. Like if you want to meet someone for coffee, you need you're stuck in traffic for an hour. It was just like, I don't know if this is my thing. Even though obviously I love the weather, and I think if it would have been different conditions, maybe it would have worked well. But the combination of the breakup and having no friends there was like, okay. And after I broke up, I immediately moved back to New York actually. And then I was there for another like 2 years, and I got together with my now husband, who is a dancer, actor, acrobat as well. Um, yeah, And I've known him for many years. I've even known him before that relationship. We've had like a kind of a, he was my dance date for many years in New York. But we just never committed. It took a long time, but sometimes it takes time to be ready for something serious.
True. And when, well,
Beautiful
first,
message.
that's so beautiful. That is beautiful. Can you please introduce us to your baby?
Yes, that is
Oh my god.
Lulu.
Mm,
She's the cuddle baby.
to
And then I
see.
have another one running around here. What's up? The other one is Frisante. Frisky, come
Present.
here. Come here, boo boo. I'm
So
sure
gorgeous.
sooner or later she will come up here as well. Oh, she's coming already. Come, boo boo.
She's making an appearance. Oh
Hey,
yes. Hello.
Oh my God. She's like, yay, I'm allowed to be a part of this. Woohoo. That means the other one is leaving. It's
That's
like,
the other one.
hell no.
Yeah,
Hell
this
no.
one is a newer baby. I just have her for like 3 weeks.
Oh my
Cute.
God.
And she's a little rescue baby, and she's very, very sweet, but she's also quite cheeky, and sometimes the other one is annoyed. But now she's bringing the toy. Oh my God.
It's a
Okay.
playtime.
Okay. As you guys, maybe if you're watching this, and then Noemi's two dogs, like, and you can see Valeria and we're like, ah, because we both have dogs and we love dogs. So we're dog owners. If
Yes.
you would ask me cat or dog, I would say dog. That's just what it is. Nothing
Same.
against cats, but yeah. So you're staying, so you're in LA, you are back in New York. And the thing with you, which is so amazing, what I really admire is like you no longer wait for roles. You are building your own world as a creative, as an artist, as an actor, as we said, director, writer. When did that process start for you? Was it when you were in New York, or did that start when you came to Vienna and you were like, okay, what's happening here? What am I going to do? How am I going to get roles?
Um, I mean, in New York, I started like a small basement theater with some colleagues. So that was
Nice.
super cute. Like we did a lot of different things there, like music, poetry, dance. It was the basement of the coffee shop of my roommate, and she had a coffee shop in Brooklyn in Bushwick, and she had a gigantic basement. And one day she showed me her basement, and we have to use this. This is so cool. And then we started renovating, like we did everything ourselves. Like we cleaned out a whole lot of shit. We started painting the walls. We got furniture from thrift stores. We got old rugs. Like it was really cute and cozy and was a lot of work. So some other colleagues from Stella Adler and some of her extra friends. So I think we were a collective of maybe 10 people. It was called the Global Artist League, GAL. And yeah, I think for almost 2 years we had different events there. So I already created kind of my own work there. But then one day a neighbor called us out because we didn't have an emergency exit, and then we had to close it, which was very sad. Or we would have, like, if we had invested, we would need to invest a lot of money to build an emergency exit, and we didn't want to do that because we didn't really make any money with it except, like donations or super small ticket prices. So yeah, so after 2 years we had to close it down. But it was a fun experience. It was really beautiful. It was really like, yeah, just to have this little, it was literally like a black box theater for maybe 30 people in a
Nice.
basement in Brooklyn.
That is so
So
cool.
cool.
Yeah, that was lovely. And yeah, then I came to back to Austria, which is a whole other story because I didn't plan on coming back. Um, I actually just shot a short film this summer about my whole visa issue shit that is in that is in post production at the moment. But I tried to make it short. So I married my husband in October 2019. No, oh my God, yeah, 19. And then we went to Cuba on our honeymoon. And while I was in Cuba, my visa got revoked. So I didn't know that they could just basically cancel my artist visa because they don't like Cuba. And then we had
Right.
to go home separately from our honeymoon. He to New York, I'm to Austria.
No.
And then I waited for an entire month to reapply for a visitor visa. Like
Oh,
I came back to Austria in December and I had like a hand luggage full of bikinis and nothing else. Like I had no apartment, no clothes, no nothing. And I waited for a month and then I went to this visitor visa interview. And at the visitor visa interview, I had an immigration officer who really didn't like me or had a very bad day. And he took my entire artist visa apart and he decided that it was fraud and he gave me a ban for the
oh
US.
God.
What?
Yes. Which was completely crazy and very unexpected. Um, yeah. And basically, I did what all of my other artist friends do, like you have to give them a 3-year itinerary, what you're going to do the next 3 years as an artist or as an actor. And nobody knows that.
Do
Like,
they even
Mm.
understand how creative world works? You cannot
Yeah,
say what you're gonna do in
exactly.
the next month.
like
3 years.
exactly. Like even if you ask Meryl Streep, what are you shooting in 3 years? She doesn't know.
She
Like
doesn't know.
it makes no sense. And usually they don't ask all of these questions, and I didn't even remember what was in the itinerary.
Mm.
Yeah, and then I didn't have a tax return from that year, and yeah, he decided to give me a ban.
Wonderful.
So that's how
Yeah,
Happy came to Austria.
yes, that's how I ended up here, and it was a huge shock
I'm
because I just
sorry.
got married and we moved to like we renovated his my mother-in-law's apartment together, and I just thought, yay, finally my life is getting easier in the States. I'm getting a green card now. So unfortunately, all of this happened before I got the green card. So the ban is basically above the green card. So yeah, and my husband was amazing enough to move to Austria within 2 weeks, not speaking any German, only having been here for a few days. He actually has a really amazing dance and acrobatic slash club studio in Brooklyn that he left to start here from zero. Yeah, but then like 3 months later, COVID happened, and then we were kind of happy to be here. So
So
yeah,
you were lucky
I,
in the end. It was
Mm.
really luck in
yeah,
the end, maybe.
I do trust in the ways the universe goes sometimes, and
Oh, you
sometimes
have to.
You
it's very
have
hard
to.
at the
Um,
moment things happen, but
It is.
um, yeah.
and you
But
also
anyway,
turn in your life into art, which I really admire. Because I mean, I can appreciate all the visa issues.
Yeah.
I had a fair bit of this last year and before. And
okay,
looking back, you can only see maybe it all kind of worked out exactly the way it should. Even
yeah,
though in the moment it was, it was just like crazy. And I can imagine like you being, newly wet, going from your honeymoon, not being able to enter the country. It's
yes,
just crazy. But
Oh,
you
wait.
said that now you're making the film, or
yes. So
you shot a film about it. Tell us
I
about
shot,
it.
I shot a short film about it this summer. Yeah, I was. So a lot of people, I almost everyone I told the story to, they're like, "Oh my God, that sounds like a crazy movie, going on a
Mm.
honeymoon, never coming back." Like, um, yeah. So I've been thinking about it. I wanted to do something around that topic, and now I decided to do a comedy because it was all so absurd that I was like, and I think there's so many dramatic short films. So yeah, so it's based on my story, but everything even bigger. Yeah, then we applied for another funding right now, so we hope we're gonna get some money to pay a good editor. Otherwise, we have to edit it ourselves. Yeah, we'll find a way. But it's shot already, and I'm really happy about it.
And did you, so you wrote it, obviously it's your story. You're
Yes.
starring in it. Are you
Mm-hmm.
also directing this one?
No, no.
Mm-hmm.
One of my best friends, her name is Nancy Menzelfey. She is an amazing actress. Um, she did a lot of theater work, like she was in Munich at the Kammerspiele and in Salzburg Zurich, and now she's on Volkstheater.
Mm-hmm.
And she's one of my best friends for many, many years. And I just think she's one of the most amazing actors I know, honestly. So I, yeah, I, she didn't have a lot of experience directing, especially not film so much, but I just think she's incredibly talented and I really trust her. So it was a good collaboration.
And is your hubby playing himself in the movie? I mean,
Um,
please, can I say something? A shout out. I mean, I really want to celebrate that man. The beauty of
yeah,
this love, the beauty of this commitment that he, just that him doing that, it's
it
gorgeous.
is.
This is the love
Yeah,
story. I mean,
Yes.
wow, that is beautiful. And there are so many men like that out there. This is just gorgeous. I mean, wow, I love it.
no, I'm really grateful. I'm very grateful because at that point we didn't know how long it would take, and now it's 6 years later and I still can't go because in the meantime there was COVID and then I hired a lawyer who really didn't do his job properly and just everything took much longer than he thought. So this is still processing. Like I'm fighting this ban, obviously, but this so-called waiver is still in process. I hope it's gonna go through next year. Yeah, but if he would not have come to Austria, most probably we wouldn't be together anymore.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm really grateful that he did all of that. And the first year was super rough because he didn't have a work permit for an entire year. Like we had nothing here. I had no apartment, no job. He had not even a work permit. I didn't even have my clothes. I had no furniture. Like my entire life was in New York. And all he could bring was one suitcase with my life from 6 years. Like it was not. But
Oh,
that's how it goes. And now live in a beautiful apartment. We are quite happy. He actually did his second production on Theater last year, so he's
wow.
doing well. He's coaching and also he performed as well. Um, and yeah, I'm very grateful how everything went down. But it's time for me to go back to New York as well. So I hope that's gonna happen
That's
soon.
going to be the next film then.
Yeah.
Is coming back to New York.
After
Yeah.
6 years.
But let's
Sounds
talk
nuts.
about let's talk about that. Let's talk about the film, which is it's like, what is it? Yeah, Unbesiegbaren. That's what it is.
Invincible. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
the thing, you wrote that, co-wrote that,
yeah.
co-directed,
hmm
you starred in it. And
hmm
how was it for you? And that is also the story now before the film you talked about, but how is it for you being inside the story as an actor while building it as a filmmaker?
Yeah, I think it's quite challenging, honestly,
Mm,
because there's so much other work you have to do to realize a project that I felt I didn't really have enough time to fully focus on acting.
yeah.
Like if you're just an actor, it's already enough, and you have to do your preparation and come on set and yeah, be prepared and do your job. But then if you also kind of co-producer, co-director, like you feel responsible for everyone else. Like that's also the reason why I didn't direct this short film, because I realized it was too much. It was, I think we did quite a good job, and we had an amazing team. Really shout out to our team. We were so grateful. Um, we also got quite a lot of funding, which was a lot of work as well because it was a historical project. So it took a lot of preparation. We worked on this short film for 2 years, basically. Um, yeah, it was a lot of work for a 10-minute short film, you know.
And also from my
Um,
understanding, the story that you came up with, it wasn't the one that you originally planned.
yes, it changed a few times. Initially, Susie Leger, who is my partner, co-writer, director, actor, um, she studied with me in New York at Stella Adler Studio, by the way. That's how we got really close, but we knew each other from Austria already. And yeah, we just felt like we want to collaborate because we're great friends, but I also really admire her talent. And so initially it was a performance piece. We had it planned out very differently, but then COVID happened, and then it was much harder to do live performances. So we decided to do a short film, and it was inspired by our own stories, by her uh, great grandmother who is Jewish, and by my great grandmother who was also like her father was a communist, and they risked their lives to inspire people. And yeah, it was. We did a lot of research about queer artists and in general female artists from like the 1900s until the Second World War.
Mm.
And there was so much interesting stuff going on that was all like completely destroyed after the Second World War. And it was so much, it was such a setback on so many levels. Yeah, but it was a big project for us, and it was quite a challenge to put all of the research we did in one short film. I think that was what was almost the hardest for us
Mm.
because we wanted to tell so many stories, and then we just said like, you know what, we gotta break it down and make it super simple and really just make it about like this one day in their lives right before Hitler marched in. And it's kind of basically about them preparing for an art opening and then getting a phone call that he's marching in, and then them trying to hide their artworks and save their art because they knew it would get destroyed. And yeah, how important art is to tell these stories and to keep them alive.
That is beautiful. Wow. That is just beautiful. I'm like, is there a story that you could tell us now, because you've done this research and I know way too little about that time, that you could, that didn't make it into the film obviously, but you said there was so much beauty that we would have, stories, interesting stories we would love to tell. Is there one that you would like to share with us now?
Um, I mean, nothing like specific, but there were a lot of incredible female artists in Vienna, especially like painters and sculptors that were so progressive and that also worked like together with Klimt and Schiele, and like they were on their level, but we don't really hear their names much, you know.
No.
Like Tina Blau, for instance, and some of them had even uh, like there were some street names. There was a Tina Blaugasse, and Hitler removed the name, and I think it never came back. You know, like there's small details, but I even think still a lot of the work is not done to show who these women were and that they were really successful. And then in the 1920s, the queer community was big and everything was completely dead afterwards. It was like non-existent. Um, and there were so many revolutionary, interesting, really cool women around that time that lived their lives in a completely like non-linear way. And yeah, basically after the Second World War, everything went back to like husband and wife and having kids and like the traditional family way. And it has been much, much more open before that. Um, yeah. And what was also interesting for us is around 1900, they opened the first art universities for women, which one of the first one was the Damenakademie in München, in Munich. I think it was actually the very first university where women could study painting, like art. And then one of the first female teachers who also was part of starting the Damenakademie, she was such an interesting person as well. Unfortunately, I forgot a few names already because it's like 2 years ago, that we did this research. But we were digging in and it was so interesting. We really enjoyed the whole research part of it.
It makes one want to like bring it to life again, right? Like let's do this in Vienna, because today there's so many talented women in Vienna, creatives. And and the queer community is, I mean, and they're so gorgeous, and it's such a shame. Such a shame, to be honest.
Yes, it really is. Like I really wonder, they were so far ahead already in the 1920s. So if the Second World War would not have happened, where would we be now? And also, of course, so many Jewish people leaving, and they were just the intellectual elite of Vienna and extremely interesting people. And obviously, the entire queer community leaving or being killed, So yeah, I think most really interesting, open-minded people either left or were killed. So yeah, that was also quite sad to see. I mean, we killed off everyone that was really free-minded, free-spirited, and talented and interesting, basically.
The world would be the different place now.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, because being an artist, you also you said it yourself, you're a multidisciplinary artist. And you create your own work, but not solely filmmaking. You also do a fair bit of writing. You're a painter as well. Can you tell us when do you find time for that, and how did it all come about? We never ask actually about your childhood in particular, because I think that's when all the inspiration comes from. That's when we can be free in our world, and that's when we explore. How do you remember the first encounter you had with art or your creativity, and when it was? Maybe it was something like a memory or something that you can share with us. That'd be great.
Well, I don't remember the first encounter because I think I was kind of breathing art. Like both of my parents are artists. They're painters and sculptors, actually. So I was always, especially as a child, painting and drawing a lot. Of course, they always encouraged that. Sometimes I even would work with them in their studio, and I could just get a big canvas and make a mess.
That's nice.
And I grew up on a farm as well, so I really grew up in nature. So I'm also very connected to nature. My parents renovated a 500-year-old farmer's house in Upper Austria.
Nice.
And it's a really very beautiful and special place. There's no neighbors. It's just surrounded by woods and meadows. And I grew up with a lot of animals, so that's also the love for animals. I mean, we didn't have a farm, but I grew up with 2 horses and 2 dogs and plenty of cats, and we had ducks and at some point some chickens and rabbits, and like all
Wow.
Sounds like a dream.
That sounds like, I'm sorry. I just had this vision of all of a sudden like a horse coming into your frame, going like, I'm also here. Hi. Like, like having all, it's like, yeah, I have a horse in the middle of Vienna in an apartment. I need it.
I would love it. I have a terrace on my terrace, like to be mindful.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Um, yes, no, I'm very, very grateful for my childhood, honestly. Like, I was really blessed. Like I grew up with surrounded by nature with a lot of animals and with very creative parents. And they always really supported my creativity. And I think because for them it was quite hard to come out as an artist. And also my mother, for instance, like her parents told her if she wants to study art, she has to get a like brot job, like a breadwinning job. So she did like a Röntgenausbildung, like an X-ray. I don't know how to say that in English. Um, and she did that for 2 years and she hated it, like she said, like now this was a complete waste of my life for 2 years and I only did it for my parents. And so for them it was not easy, so they always supported that in us, obviously. Um, and yeah, my parents are separated now, but yeah, they were great parents. I mean, sometimes they were fighting and crazy, but overall, I'm very grateful that they are my parents. Um, and yeah, I, it's interesting because I always thought I'm gonna study painting. Like I loved to paint as a child, and I also went to Waldorf school, so I'm like a Waldi, a very alternative kind of child. Um, yeah, but then I ended up going into performing arts, and my brother too. Interesting. He's a dancer as well, and I have a lot of dancers in my family. My sister-in-law, his wife is a dancer too. They met at dance university. My husband is a dancer mainly, so we're all in the performing art. But in COVID times, I picked up painting and drawing again. And I didn't do it for many, many years. And I realized that I missed it and that I really enjoy it and that it's very meditative for me. And yeah, and I actually uh, wrote and illustrated my own children's book. And out of this came another illustration job for a US children's book that just got published. So
Can we just
What's the
go
name of it?
Yeah, exactly. Let's celebrate that a little bit. That is amazing. Hello?
yeah, I loved illustrating, and especially for children because it gives you so much freedom, and it also gives me the freedom to just completely go for it and imagine what I would have loved as a child. And I don't feel like, oh, I have to do art, like I have to be like super artsy now and make something incredibly intelligent. And I can just go for like all the glitter and the stars and the colors and everything that I
I
loved as
love
a child.
it. I love it.
So, yeah. So the one book that just got published is called Farsana. It's a Middle Eastern story. It's actually a math riddle, like it's the educational math book, but it takes place in the old, in like Middle East. So I could draw a lot of colors and carpets and camels.
Do you have the book anywhere there close by? Like, I would love to see it. Like, is there
Yeah,
anywhere
I
there?
gotta get up for a second. Hold
Oh,
on.
okay.
Is
We're
there
doing
anything
something.
else maybe it's on the background that you've painted? It looks like
Um,
something that you might have done
no,
yourself.
I know I did these
Yeah.
actually. These are mine, and this is mine, and this is my mother's. She also paints.
Mm.
But let me get one
Oh,
second.
yes,
Hold on.
guys.
Yes.
So, okay. Oh, look at the two. Now we
Hello.
have 2 stars.
Now we can interview you guys.
Exactly. So, how is it being a dog? We're crazy here. Guys, we're doing something totally different now, but I just want to see that book. And I hope you guys are watching this. If not, hop on YouTube and see, it's
So this
really.
is Farsana. Um, This is the illustration of the main character, the girl who
Mm-hmm.
solves the math riddle, basically.
Nice.
And I mean, I can. This is the dad with the camel.
Oh.
Then I have there is a that's him. The dad is a carpenter, so he's selling carpet.
Is this your first
Um,
book that you've
um,
published?
uh, yes, because mine, the one I wrote, that's for Zana again. With the camel.
Oh, it's
So
beautiful. The
there,
colors are so
yeah,
beautiful.
there's a lot of
I love
yeah,
how the dog is just like.
The dog is reading.
yeah.
You never
Oh,
showed it to me, mommy.
yeah.
Yeah, like what is that?
That's funny.
So yeah, it just got published, and I love the illustrating. Like this is something I would honestly really enjoy doing more because it's something I can do whenever I want to do. It's creative. I can, use the time when I have time in between, and I can do it at home or wherever I want to.
Mm.
So yes, I wouldn't mind doing more of these jobs. And I'm publishing now my own children's book that I wrote as well. Uh, so I want to publish it. I want to print it before Christmas. So I hope it can be some like Christmas present. Yeah, and it's a whole like it's a very personal story as well. Um, I'm super open to talk about it because I think it's a topic that is super important to speak more about. Um, I actually lost three babies, but in a very, very early stage. So like
Mm-mm.
very
I'm sorry.
like
Oh, so sorry.
seventh, eighth week, and one was 11th week, which of course it was very sad.
Yes, I'm so
Um,
sorry. And it's good you're talking
it,
about that. Thank you.
yeah, I
And
just think it's a topic that I realized when I started talking about it, how many women lost babies before,
yeah.
and I didn't know, and it
Mm,
helped me a lot to hear, that it's super normal and that it happens a lot. So I just think it's an important topic to talk about more.
mm-hmm.
And I'm now at a point where I'm really in peace with it, and I did my work. Uh, and I also still think there will be a healthy baby at some point.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's basically a personal story about my idea was how do I tell a sibling, like if I already have a child and I lose one, how do I talk about that with another child? And it's about this child who uh, hears that the sibling is not gonna come to Earth and it's a star child now. So it decides to travel into space while it's sleeping and looking for the star child sibling. And on the space journey, it meets a lot of different spiritual figures and friendly aliens and
I
all
love
kinds of
that.
beings and
Hmm.
gets like kind of life advice from from different creatures. And at the end, it's a very positive story. It actually finds the mother star and it goes into the mother star where all the little souls are, and it sees that they're doing really well and they're very well protected. And it was really important for me that that it's something very positive, because I also think I am a spiritual person and I really believe in something like the soul. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe that if a little incarnated baby or soul decides to go back, it has a good reason. And also I think it's quite okay there. Most probably much easier than on this earth. So yeah, that's the whole story.
That is a beautiful way
Beautiful.
to see it, and I do believe that. And I think thank you for sharing that. And I think we can open up the space for this here too. And so it's beautiful. When is the book coming out? When is it? Who is publishing it?
Hope December. It's
Okay.
called Sternenkind, wo bist du? It's German. I wrote it in German actually.
Mm-hmm. And is there a pre-sale? Like, could we have the link in the show notes for the pre-sale? Is there anything? Do you have that?
I have to check with the how do you say, with the
Publisher.
company that's printing, with the publisher, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I can let you know if I got something.
Yeah, then we will definitely put it in the show notes. And it's so important because somehow we all, I don't know, we women, we hear like, don't talk about it the first weeks and don't tell anyone because you might lose it. But that's hard. It's hard keeping this
Yeah.
for yourself. And then if that happens, what then I have to live with it on my own? That's
Yes,
not
exactly.
healthy.
I always talked about it right away because I was like, I mean, at least with the people I love, because even
Yeah.
if I lose it, I want to share that with them. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to just keep it to myself. But of course, I think everyone has to do what they feel most comfortable with. But for me, I really, that's why I talk about it very openly. And if the topic comes up, I talk about it because I just think it helps as a woman to know that so many other women are going through this and that it's quite normal and that it happens very often.
It does. Your art feels very personal. It is something that is kind of interwoven into the fabric of your life, something that you're going through, and then you're making light of it and you're bringing it to
Yeah,
people. What's
I
the
think
hope
that's
for the
really what I'm
future?
proud.
What are the projects that you want to do? Maybe you have in plans. Maybe you've started to create something new. Can you share some?
Um, yes, actually, I started writing my first feature film because I thought, you know what, I did 3 short films now. I think it's time for a feature. Um, and that's gonna be a much bigger project, obviously. And also, to get funding for feature and all of this is a big deal, but gotta try, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I started actually about an Austrian artist. Her name is Susanne Wenger. And for me, she was one of the most interesting artists from the last century. And I think she has a way too little fame in Austria. And I
Is
want
it
to
going to
give
be a
her,
documentary or no?
no, but it's going to be based on her life. And I still have to figure out because she was like 95 or something. So she had a very long life. And she was quite amazing. Like she moved to Nigeria in the late 1940s. She also experienced Second World War. Her art was also, she was one of the artists who was entarted, and she actually helped a bunch of Jewish people. So yeah, it was really amazing. And then she moved to Nigeria and became a high priestess from a Yoruba tribe
Wow.
and was
What?
very well accepted as a high priestess in Nigeria. And she built incredible art in a Nigerian grove, like in a forest. That she also, like, she basically built um, monuments for Yoruba gods, and this grove is a UNESCO World World Heritage now.
Hmm.
They, they at some point it was planned actually to cut this forest, but it was a very ancient, very sacred forest. So it was her life's work as well to make it a World Heritage. And she built gigantic statues and like it's unbelievable. It's so impressive. And yeah, she was just a fucking cool ass woman.
What's your name again?
Susanne Wenger.
Wow.
Susanne Wenger.
Hmm.
Okay, definitely looking her up. That
Yeah,
is
Exactly.
do that. I
amazing.
was like, and I met her as a child because my parents, sometimes she came to Austria and she had like she was talking about her work and her spiritual work and stuff. And my parents went to one of these events, and I met her, and I think I was maybe 10 or 11, and I was so impressed by this woman. I always remembered her, and by her presence, she had such an she was so strong and so intriguing, and yeah, I never forgot her. And this idea started in New York actually because I told some friend, I talked to a friend about it, and I told her about this woman, and was like, wow, this is so incredible. And oh, and then he actually said, you kind of look like her when she was young. You used to play her. And I was like, I have to
Yes.
write a movie about her.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I
And
love
back then
this.
I had short hair. I had short hair for a very long time. So, and she had short hair when she was younger. And so, anyway, that's the next project.
Mm. And you're
And I,
writing it. You're also are you gonna be wearing all the hats? Are you gonna be directing?
and I don't think so. Not
Okay.
I think I want to get a really good director on board, maybe someone who has a name, to get some
Mm-hmm.
funding. A female director, for sure. Uh, and I would love to play the young Susanna,
Mm-hmm.
but then she was also quite her most interesting time was when she was quite old actually. So I would need to find another actor to play her when she was much older.
Okay, when you say
Um,
quite old, what are we talking about? 70 years, 80 years old? Or are we talking about
like her peak was with like late 80s, 90s, like
80 years old?
yeah.
1980. I
She
love this woman.
died like she died um with 95 or 96.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Um and
Late, late,
you have
late
to look her
bloomer.
up. You have to look her up, especially like
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
how she looked when she was older. She was so impressive. Like
Oh,
I love to say like really deep wrinkles and like black eyes and like super
oh.
intriguing personality. Yeah. So yeah, that's my next idea, and I think it's gonna be a big baby.
Mm.
Um, otherwise, I hope in the meantime I maybe get a few acting gigs. I'm also very available for acting, but as we know, it's yeah, it's not so easy, and that's why I do a lot of other creative stuff because I need a creative
Mm.
out. I need an outlet. Otherwise, I get depressed if I can't be creative. So I have to do my own stuff, basically.
I'm impressed by you. You're intriguing. I was just thinking when you were talking about her, Susanna, I was thinking like there's gonna be a documentary about you, I think. I don't know why I felt that, but I did. And I'm
Mm.
intuitive and I'm a witch. Okay, just saying. So,
Well,
uh,
hopefully, when I'm 95, I want to be as cool as Susanna Wenger.
yeah, like just the way you talk about art and as Valeria said, it is so personal. At the same time, I feel so welcome in your world. I feel also like I want to be a part of your world. I felt it
No.
immediately when it just the framing. I was like, I want to be in your world, as I said. So that is really and it's beautiful that you are creating with there's so much hope around it, I feel. As you talk about Star Child. I mean that's beautiful.
Thank you so much. I
So
appreciate
I kind of dread going to this, but I just would like to ask you a little bit about this because you're so creative. How the hell, I'm sorry to say it like this, but I always swear. How the hell are you able to produce? Like it's because that can be, and please correct me if I'm wrong and tell me how you make it colorful because it can be very dry. But you're just such a colorful human being and you're so creative and bubbly and I can just feel like it's like, you know. So how do you make that? How do you do that? How do you make it fun or or do you?
Wow, I don't know. I don't even think about it. I just have to be creative. Otherwise, I'm not happy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's really like what makes me happy and what makes me balanced, If I'm not creative all the time, of course I have times where I'm tired or sometimes I just don't have super creative phases and then something comes up and then I'm creative again. But I really know that if I can't be creative, I'm usually not in the best mood. Like
Mm.
I'm really balanced and happy when I'm creative. And that can be on many levels. And I'm very grateful that I love acting. It's like actually my main profession, but because acting forces you to do so many different things, I'm very grateful that I have many different talents and also many different creative outlets.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And how do you then
yeah,
intertwine that with the producing? Like, how do you?
I mean, I would say the producing side is not my favorite side. It's necessary sometimes. I'm not a born producer. I'm a born creative,
Exactly.
and
That's
I'm
why I'm
not like
asking.
no. I'm not super organized and I'm not like it's not something that I love to do. I have to say that.
Mhm.
But I'm happy that I learned some of it. And especially with the Unbesiegbar, the Invincibles, I did a lot of the producing with Susie, and we did all the fundings together. And Susie has a little more experience with doing fundings because initially she started performance art. So she got a few fundings before that as a performance artist. So she's kind of like in the funding pool already. So that helps. And I'm grateful for her because I learned much about all these funding stuff through her
Mm.
and we did it together. And that's a tip for me. I love to collaborate,
Yeah.
especially if it's about film or writing. If I paint and stuff, this is what I found out for me that I'm super happy that I don't need anyone to do that. I think also that's why I picked it back up because I think acting and theater and film is such a collaborative effort.
Mm.
You can't really do it by yourself. And my big advice is find people you love and who inspire you and collaborate
Mm.
because then you don't feel alone. I this helped me a lot. I wrote the last short film. It's called 24 Little Hours about my visa stuff with Oana. She was the producer on the Unbesiegbar. So we wrote it together because I inspired her and I was like, it was the first time she wrote something, but she also worked as a distributor for short films in Italy for um, many years. So she saw hundreds of short films in her life. And I was like, you know what's good. Like you can write a short film. So we wrote it together and that was a great collaboration. And she produced it as well. She's a born producer. She's great.
Mhm.
If
Mm.
you need a good producer, Oana is awesome.
Mm.
Um, and then the only fun I did with Susie, so we did everything together, and we love each other. We work well together, and it was just so nice, like to meet someone that you just. It was kind of like a work hangout. We just had a good time together, and we worked. Um, she also has a dog. We're dog ladies. We're
The
always
dog
with
lady's
dogs.
here.
Our dogs are on our film credits because they brought us through this
I
whole.
love this.
Yes, find people you love and you're inspired by and collaborate. I think this is for me, especially around film, is extremely helpful. And it's just like you don't feel so alone and you can push each other, you can inspire each other, you can set deadlines, you can be held accountable. Like all of these things are very helpful.
Thank you.
Facts.
This is all facts, and thank you so much. This has been
Thank
amazing.
you.
It's been amazing
So
having you here, and
thank you
very,
so much
very
for
excited to see all your see all your projects that are coming out.
And your dogs.
And your dogs.
All of them.
And also definitely putting all of this in the show notes, everything you, and even if the link is later on for the book, we will just put it later on in the show notes, and we'll do that.
Thank you so much. Yes, yeah, I love this craft, I love, in general, I absolutely love acting, but I think the industry fucking sucks. So it's like,
Amen.
it's so hard to find a balance because I love the craft of acting, but I hate almost everything that's around it. Like, it's so little that you get to act, and so much other stuff that you have to do to get there. And I think this is just something important to consider if you want to become an actor, because I think the acting part is just very, very small for most of the actors. You have to do so many auditions to get one little job. You have to go to so many events. You have to socialize. You have to create your own stuff. So yeah, that's sometimes challenging. I would love to act more. And that's one of the reasons why I create my own work, so I can act and also tell the stories I want to tell. And I think that's the other thing, so much of the acting work is not acting I want to do, because it's most of the stories are not stories I want to tell. And I feel like 90% of all the stories in the industry is crime and violence. And I'm so sick of it. I don't want to participate in a world that just I just have to turn on the news, and I see so much violence. And if I'm on Netflix or something, I can barely watch anything because I refuse to watch violence. If it's not, I can watch something that is really about the story around it, or if it's super well written, or okay, but there's so much violence and crime that just, I don't understand why. I'm like, why should I watch them? And I'm in a little bit of difficult situation because I'm also like, why should I want to act that?
Well, you're changing.
And yeah, that's really also one of my initial motivations, because I want to tell different stories. I want to tell positive stories. I want to tell stories that inspire. And I don't want to tell stories that just create more violence and more negativity in this world. I think there's enough out there. Yeah, this is something I would really, really wish for in this industry, that we find a way to tell more positive stories and more inspiring and uplifting stories. This is really a very big wish, and I feel like a mission I have.
It's a beautiful mission. Thank you. Thank you for that.
I join you with this because I can relate so much. I can't stand violence, and and it seems like a lot of the times it sells well. So that's maybe the motivation of the industry, but I admire what you're doing.
Why does it sell well? Because we are indoctrinated with it for decades and decades, and yeah, I just think it's so wrong. There's so many great stories out there, and there's so many really inspiring people. And it also doesn't mean that I don't want to show, the negativity. There is a lot of shit going wrong, but it's always the question of how do I tell the story? So, yeah.
Ah, yes. So we will end it with peace.
Inner calm.
Is love and inner calmness, or being calm as it is on your wall. So
Oh, that's another
beautiful message.
I started a YouTube channel that's called Inner Calm Coach. It's at the very beginning, but another thing, another little hobby.
Beloved, we will have all this, you guys, in the show notes for you, because Noemi, she makes, it's just, her world is amazing, colorful and gorgeous. So thank you.
Thank you so much for the interview. It was really, really lovely chatting with you, and I can't wait to meet in person. I'm sure we're gonna make that happen.